So far, we have been getting our feet wet learning the Objective-C syntax and familiarizing ourselves with some of its classes. Now it's time to do something a little more exciting. In this section, we are going to be building a simple Twitter application. Its functionality will be limited as it will only post a tweet to our account. This may sound like a simple task, but as you will find out in the videos to come, we will be using an assortment of classes and techniques to bring this application to completion. Let's go over what this application should know how to do. First, we should verify that we have credentials. Before a post is attempted, we should ensure that the user has entered login information. We should store their credentials. In our application, we will be storing login information using the NSUserDefaults class. Now we will store them as plain text. This is not secure in any way, and you would not want to do this in a production application. In a production application, you would use something more secure like the keychain. Next, we should authenticate the credentials. The Twitter API provides a way to check a user's credentials. We should take advantage of this and authenticate the user before attempting a post. We will also want to keep track of this authentication and not abuse the Twitter API by checking this during each post. Our application should ensure that there is text to post. If the post button is clicked and there is no text to post, how should we handle it? We can choose to ignore it or inform the user. Either way, we should not post an empty tweet. As we all know, Twitter has a character limit. Here, our application needs to keep track of the number of entered characters and inform the user when the 140 character limit is exceeded. I think a visual display in the user interface will work fine. Creating tiny URLs. If there is a URL in the text and the user clicks the tiny URL button, which we'll have in our UI, our application should be smart enough to extract the URL from the text, obtain a tiny URL, and replace the original URL. And finally, once everything has been verified, we can now post an update to Twitter and inform the user if the post was successful. We will be introducing a number of classes while building this application. Here's a quick rundown of what they are and how we will be using them. NSTask is used to execute shell commands. One of the ways to access the Twitter API is to use curl, and that's what we'll use NSTask for. NSXMLDocument is the helpful HTML and XML parser. This is how we will get specific information from the Twitter responses, which are returned as XML. The NSScanner class is used to locate items in a string. We will use it to locate a URL in the user's tweet. NSAttributed allows you to create strings that have personality, like setting its color, font, or font style. This is what we will use to alert the user when they have exceeded the 140 character limit. NSAlert is a way of relaying information to the user. This can be done using a sheet or a dialog window. Each has its purpose and functionality, and we will explore both. NSFont is what we will use to set the font in our NSAttributed string. NSNotification provides a way to receive notifications that the system is sending out, and also provides a way for us to post and then receive our own notifications. We will be using the system notifications in our application. NSWindow has lots of functionality. What we will do is subclass NSWindow and override one of its methods to produce the gray light bar you see at the bottom of a Finder window. Here are some additional items we will use in our application. I've yet to see some of these covered in any other tutorial, so I thought it would be a good idea to at least implement them here. This way you will have an idea of how to use them in your own applications. The first one is Define Macro. This is a handy preprocessor macro that can save a lot of typing and, in my opinion, make your code more readable. Pragmamark provides a way to section your code. You will really see the benefits of this when looking for a method in the Functions drop-down menu. Property and Synthesize are the Objective-C 2.0 getter and setter shortcuts. They save a lot of typing. .syntax is the convention used to access instance variables created using Property and Synthesize. Private category is what we will use to declare a method that we do not want exposed in our header file. This is very useful to keep your header file clear of methods that other classes should not have access to. The Singleton class. You create a singleton when you only want one instance of a class in existence in your application. String constants is a method used to help you, the programmer, make less mistakes. This will make more sense once we use it in code. We will be using multiple class files in this application. We will also be demonstrating how to communicate between classes using several methods. Now that we have a basic overview of what the project will do, let's take a quick look at it. I copied the application to my desktop and I've named it TwitterMe. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. And it opens up, and in the title bar we can see that it says TwitterMe at no account info. So right away this informs the user that they have not set up their login information. So if I type something in and I click post, we get this alert that pops up and it says please enter credentials and try again. We click OK, the credentials window comes down, and I've created a demo account for this, so I'll type in my information. And when I click enter, it submits it, and the title bar changes showing that it has that information now. So I can click post again, and it comes back and it says post successful. If I were to put in a URL, and then I click tinyURL, it will extract that URL from the text, go off to tinyURL, obtain a new URL, and bring it back and insert it right in place. And we can see down in the bottom left-hand corner of the window that it's saying total characters 43. And here is that nice little gray bar at the bottom that I was talking about. And we'll be overriding NS window to create this. And that's our application. We have a lot of work ahead of us, so go ahead and open up Xcode, and in our next video, we'll get started writing code.